Humans of the Cardboard, we just got a ton of, I believe, manga cards imported to the TC, or not to the TCG, into the OCG, into the actual card game here, which is very, very exciting. We'll get these cards down the line. There's a couple of really interesting cards with these kinds of sets, whether it's the Animation Chronicle or something like this, which is just the, what do they call this? Premium pack? Is that what the PP is for? I don't even remember what exact set this is, but it's for the OCG, so you know, we will get this imported somewhere else in the TCG. But as you can see here, RAYE alternate artwork kind of looking clean. This is a really cool. I kind of prefer this one over the original RAYE artwork. You're going to see the bigger version. It's right here. Very, very nice. RAYE looking good as always. Let's get into this because we got a bunch of cards to go through. So starting off here, we have Arms Regeneration. This is a quick play spell. You can only activate with one card, or one card with this card's name per turn. You get to choose one of these two's effects. Target one face-up monster you control. It gains 800 attack until the end of this turn. That's kind of like an interesting, like, the fact that it could just be a battle trap is kind of funny. It won't come up all the time, but there are definitely times, even in Modern Yu-Gi-Oh, where like something like this could be the difference in a simplified board state. Secondly, the other effect, target an equipped spell in either graveyard and either set it to your field or equip it to an appropriate monster you control. That's pretty cool. There's a couple of interesting things you can do with that. There's not a ton of like equip spell floodgates necessarily, but there's interesting stuff like Metal Silver Armor is a really interesting one that like Infernoble builds tend to play. Stuff like that, if that got outed, it's a way to just like reassemble it and boom, you like still win, because so many decks just don't realize how little they can do under Metal Silver Armor. Or something like, I don't know, Infernoble Knights getting Durendal so they can do a search on a follow-up turn or something like that. I don't know. It's not amazing, but I've talked about this, that some of the power creep in the game for me with some of the equip spell stuff, like equip spell is definitely like an area of the game that definitely could be power crept to make any of those decks that play those a little bit better. If we got an equip spell that like when it's equipped, like it pops a card, right? Or is send to the graveyard, banish a monster, like almost act as interruption essentially. With the right interactions, like this could be a card that definitely gets better and better over the course of time. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Next up here, we have a new quick play spell called Duality. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. This card says, tribute one light or dark monster as cost. Okay, Lair of Darkness support, low key, kinda. Special summon one light or dark monster with the same original type and level, but different original attribute from your hand or extra deck. Very, very interesting. So I guess, so this is almost like a quick play, almost gives you a way to, what is it? Ties of the Brethren. Not quite as powerful. You only get like one monster here. You have to tribute, but with stuff like Lair, obviously that becomes not nearly a problem, and it's a quick play, so it can definitely be an interruption. The only problem with that is the effect is dependent on what you tribute, so it will depend on the deck you play against, what they play, so that you can do it, because you have to summon someone with the same type and level. But if Bishchuls are super popular in the format, like tributing a Bishchul to like special summon a light or dark with the same level is pretty cool. But it does have to be a different original attribute. So if you tribute a dark, I believe you have to special summon a light. If you tribute a light, you have to special summon a dark. In those Lair instances, you're only summoning lights. So keep that in mind. From your hand or extra deck, though. Hand is kind of sussy. Extra deck, though, straight up just cheating out like synchro monsters and stuff. Could be kind of crazy. Or fusions. Like, there's definitely could be some text with this card, for sure. I mean, I think about Dark Law. Well, can Dark Law be cheated out? I think the Masked Heroes actually have clauses that keep them from being cheated out, I think. But in that instance, like, tribute an opponent's level 6 light warrior. It's kind of specific. It's a weird card. It may have its niche uses in the future, but we'll have to see. And the second effect, during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard to target a light and dark monster in your grave. Shuffle them both in deck and draw a card. That's also just like low-key really solid. If you're playing a light and dark, if any deck you would be playing that plays this card regardless, probably can do this the same turn. So just go ahead and draw a card also. That's pretty nice. A little Chaos Space action. Not a terrible like Chaos support card. It's just a little specific. We'll have to see if that ever comes up. Next up here, also let me know in the comment section down below if there's anything in particular that jumps out at you as like a legit doable thing consistently. Let me know. From there, we move to another spell card called Shadow's Light, a normal spell. It can only be used once. You can only use the first or second effects once per turn. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this card. Target a dark monster you control. Okay. Special summon a light monster with the same type and level from your deck or extra deck. Whoa. Okay. So again, like kind of another card that goes in with this one, like kind of like a Ties of the Brethren knockoff. It is kind of weird though, because I think the one thing that's cool with Ties is it summons a monster with all the same things, with all the same factors, nothing different. The fact that you're like targeting a dark, summoning a light, most strategies are like through and through the same. Like you look Magical Musketeers, like they're a deck that have played Ties of the Brethren, all light fiends, right? And so it works better. How many decks are playing dark and light monsters with the same type? I'm sure it can be done, but it's just something definitely to take a look at. But I'm curious here. I'll definitely, after this video, go through and look at how many like light monsters in the extra deck and main deck that could come up as like really powerful summon targets. Plus, no other restriction on this card aside from no battle phase. Like Tide of the Brethren locks you out of like special summoning for the rest of the turn. This card does not do that at all, and it pays 2,000, which this card doesn't. So this card could actually be something interesting. Other than that, you can banish this card from your graveyard as cost. During your main phase this turn, you can normal summon a light or dark monster in addition to your normal summoner set. That's actually like low-key kind of interesting. Like for example, if like the dark or light monster you use for this, if either of them searched a monster, like maybe the light you summon is searching you a monster when it's summoned, and then this card gives you the additional extension. Again, no locking from special summoning, just battle phase. This card could actually be a legit extender. This one's really interesting. Moving on from there, Rose Shaman. This reminds me of Rose Paladin, and I believe it'll have a similar effect here because it's a level 4 Earth Warrior. It's got very much plant vibes. 1700 attack, 200 defense. You can only use one of its 2 effects once per turn. The first one is Tribute It, draw a card. Got to get it on the field unless it can extend itself, but you can't use both effects in the same turn, so it wouldn't even matter. So just meh, but I guess worst case scenario, if you're bricked, you can still normal summon this card, draw a card. If your deck's not super normal summon dependent, that could be good. Second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a plant in your grave, add it to your hand. Then if its original level is 7 or higher, you can send a plant monster from your deck to the graveyard. Wow, just generic. That's actually a pretty good effect. I mean, you do have to get it in grave, and unfortunately, since you can't do both effects in the same turn, you wouldn't be able to go like normal summon, tribute it, draw a card, then from grave, banish it to add a plant back. If it was 7, Foolish Burial another one, and you're just kind of like cooking really, really well. But it's still not terrible. I definitely don't hate that second effect. It's just the fact that you can't do both is kind of hurting it here. I don't know. It's an interesting card, just like Rose Paladin still is. I still read Rose Paladin. I'm like, if we get a really good like plant archetype that's like based around high level plants, like could be good again. Next up, we have Caddy Corn. I love the artwork on it. It looks so cool. It's a level 4 Earth Plant. 1500 attack, 500 defense. First and second effects are hard once per turns. If this card is special summoned and you do not control a card in the field zone, you can add a field spell from your deck to the hand. Any field spell. Yo, that's low-key. With like Vernisylphs? Yo, this card in Vernisylphs looks kind of crazy. That's pretty interesting. Second effect, if this card to be destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target a field spell in grave, add one card with the same name from deck to hand. Again, just if you leave this on field and it's destroyed, like you can just search another field spell as long as you already had one in grave. Not bad. This card's kind of cool. This card could have some legs as well, especially with Vernisylphs. Very cool. Next up, Photon Jumper. Level 4 Light Warrior, 0/0. It is a Photon card. That's kind of exciting. 2 hard once per turn effects. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can activate this effect. Skip your next battle phase. Also special summon this card from your hand. Then end the battle phase. Okay, so it's kind of a battle trap. You're going to lose your next battle phase, but your opponent's also losing theirs. That could actually be kind of nice in certain scenarios. It is a pseudo hand trap. It's a new Gores. Second effect, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a Photon or Galaxy spell or trap from deck to hand. That's really good. Wow. okay, one, I'm not a Photon connoisseur. I've said that before on the channel, but this card searches if it's just generically sent to grave. That's discard from hand, sent from deck. However, normal summon, link it off. That's cool. That's solid. This is a solid piece of support for them. Hell yeah. All right, next up, Synchro Zone. A continuous trap. Second and third effects are hard once per turn. Neither player can declare unattack with no attacks with anything but synchros. That's pretty good versus certain decks for sure that definitely need the battle. If a non-tuner synchro monster or monsters is sent to your graveyard, target one of them, special summon it. And if you do, it's now a tuner. That's also pretty good, kind of just a float. I love this as sent as well. So you could even synchro off, like, you know what I mean? Like, synchro climb and just boom, summon it back. If there's a synchro effect for a monster, maybe like tributes itself to like do something on the opponent, like interrupt your opponent, and it just summons it back, maybe not once per turn. Even like Baronne de Fleur. If you Baronne, your opponent outs it by sending it to grave, and then this card just reborns it. Baronne's once while it's on the field, not once per turn, so just another negate. And then during your opponent's main phase, you can send this face-up card from your spell trap to the zone to the graveyard to pretty much just synchro summon a synchro monster using monsters you control. Yeah, so just do an immediate synchro summon. This card's got some legs. It's got synchro in the name, so I think it might be searchable by certain things. Don't quote me on that, though. This is a cool card. It's got a cool little floodgate effect to start. It's got a really cool float effect for supporting synchro decks, and it gives you a quick synchro on the opponent's turn. I'm liking that a lot, for sure. Okay, next up. Wow, we moved to the two other Magus monsters for Sky Striker. Okay, here we go. This is Akash, is a level 5 fire machine, 2400 attack, 200 defense. So pretty big, actually. It's always treated as a Sky Striker card. 3 hard once per turn effects. You can discard a spell to special summon it from the hand. Again, like, not a terrible extender. None of them have been bad extenders at all. If a link monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, to banish a spell from grave instead. Has to be on the field to use this, which I don't love for like Sky Striker because you're clogging up your zones. You're not going to be able to use your Sky Striker spells and traps at that point. But I guess protection is protection, but whatever. And the third effect, if this card's destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to grave, target a banished striker spell and add it back to hand. That's fine, but it has to be destroyed, so don't love it. I think the best part about this card is it's like a pretty easy basic extender overall. So cool. It's a fire machine. That could come up somewhere else as well. We'll see. And the last one here is Wisdom Magus Himmel, level 5 Earth Machine. 500 attack, 2500 defense. So big booty on this guy. He's always treated as a striker card. He's got 3 hard once per turn effects. Same thing. Discard a spell to special summon him from hand. Cool. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a link monster you control, quick effect, banish 2 spells from the grave to negate it. Okay, but it's only targeting protection. When they said these cards would have like protection for link monsters, I knew it would be like mediocre, but fine. And the third effect of this guy's destroyed by battle or card and effect and sent to the graveyard. Target a Sky Striker spell that's banished and add it back to hand. Fine. These guys are fine, but I think the main thing is they could just end up being generic extenders down the line, like level 5 Fire Machine, level 5 Earth Machine. I don't remember. It was the other one, Water. So like those could come up depending on the specific deck that wants to play them. But all in all, the big things here is I think the RAYE alt art. I think these 2 spells are both pretty interesting. They could come up in very specific decks. I'd be curious to see what you guys think off the top of your head that for decks that could try and play these. This card's interesting for plants. This card's really interesting, especially with Verna Sylphs. This guy's really solid for photons. This card's just a generic good synchro support. I think it's some good stuff here. I honestly was, after the first wave of like premium pack stuff, I was not super excited, but there's actually some interesting stuff here. So we'll see. I don't know if this is everything or if we're going to get more stuff yet. I'll have to do some back-end research on how much of the set's been revealed, but all in all, I'm not disappointed. This is pretty cool stuff. So that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, let me know your thoughts down below on everything we talked about here. If there's anything I missed synergy-wise and stuff that could come up with these cards, I'd love to hear your thoughts there. And I'm out of here. I have to take a gigantic dump right now, so I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.